I can copy talents. Chapter 2, 0002. What's going on? Tian was a little at a loss, and at first glance he thought it was an illusion, but in the end, he was extremely sure that everything in front of him was not an illusion. The data displayed on the retina is real, not hallucination. Goldfinger? No, this may be my hidden talent. Tian pondered for a moment and thought. Yu is only 13 years old now, and he has not yet reached the age of cultivation, but the cultivation talent was born from the moment he was born. It is normal for Yu to have the cultivation talent at will. As for the cold ice talent, this is a talent other than the cultivation talent. It is very rare, there is no 1 in 10,000. If it awakens in the future, it will definitely crush the opponent at the same level, and it is even expected to fight beyond the level. It is said that after becoming a martial artist, you will be able to absorb the vitality and slowly awaken the other hidden talents, but there are too few people with other talents, and I didn't expect my sister to have a rare ice talent. But is my talent the ability to see other people's talents? Tian felt that his talent was definitely not so simple. Soon, he was experimenting with something. When he met his sister, he found that the cultivation talent in the virtual screen showed a replaceable behind it. In other words, he could replicate his sister's second-class cultivation talent. However, the ice talent has not been awakened, and yet Tian cannot copy it. Do you want to copy? Faced with this choice, Lin Tian naturally did not. Although the inferior talent is better than his own weaker talent, it is also rubbish, and even if it is copied, it is useless. After sending his sister away, Tian stayed alone in the room to check his talent. I can see my sister's talent, and I should be able to see my own talent, right? Tian said darkly. So, Tian focused on his own body. Soon, a situation about his talent appeared on the retina. Human, Tian. Cultivation talent, weak. It is a very simple talent situation, which shows that Tian has no other hidden talents except for weak cultivation talents. In the words of this era, he is just a standard waste material. Just a little better than ordinary people without any talent. Now that the basic situation is clear, this magical ability of mine should be the inexplicable talent that caused me to explode and die in the first place, and it has crossed over with me. This talent should be called a copy talent, being able to copy other people's talents. As for whether to cover your own talents, or to merge with your own talents, this needs to be experimented. In addition, copying someone else's talent requires touching someone else, which is a bit of a hassle, but maybe there will be changes in the future. After sorting out these, Tian had a plan, that is, to copy a genius's cultivation talent. Otherwise, relying on his own weak talent, he would never want to cultivate to the martial artist level in his life. If you don't become a martial artist, you won't have a good time in the future. Tian's parents died at the hands of the beast a year ago, and now there are only him and his sister in this family, which is also the status quo of many families. After all, human beings are still struggling to survive in this era, and people die every moment. I don't know how many families are broken. The place where Tian is staying now is a small base, called Linhai Base. There are a total of 300,000 people in the entire base, among which there are only about 1,000 martial artists. And martial artists have permissions that ordinary people can't enjoy. Tian's dead parents were martial artists, but it was a pity that he died in the wild during a mission. But even if he died, the base would give the family a certain amount of mending treatment. Such as receiving subsidies from the base before the age of 15, which could ensure his own life. But once you are over 15 years old, you lose the subsidy. Tian has reached the age of 15, so he has lost the subsidy, and only his sister Yu has the subsidy, but he can only support one person. The two of them were young and had no way to make money at all, and even in order to save money, he and his sister Yu dropped out of school early. At the Linhai base, as long as you are 9 years old, you can go to school until you are 15 years old, but there are no elementary schools, junior high schools, and high schools before the end of the world. The things that the class learns are Chinese and mathematics and some fierce beast knowledge, and he and Yu have learned almost enough, and dropping out of school has little impact. My parents once left an inheritance, although it is not much, but it is enough for me to live for a few years. But in the future, if there is no martial arts level, if you want to make money, you can only work for other people. Part-time job? That's impossible, it's impossible to work in this life. At novel bin at. Becoming a warrior is the only way out in this era. Go shopping on the streets. After Tian made up his mind, he told his sister to let her stay at home with peace of mind, and went out alone. Street. People come and go, very lively, most of them are ordinary people, some are martial artists, and only a few martial artists. These warriors exuded a powerful momentum, and if they got closer, they would even breathe a little short. Inferior talents. Inferior talents. Weak talents. Inferior talents. Tian walked around and found that most of them were weak and inferior talents, and he didn't even see a few elementary talents, only a few martial artists. It seems that in the Linhai base, the primary talents are very good. Tian frowned. But it's right to think about it, the Linhai base is just a small base, and the strongest person is just a great martial artist. And the second level talent is cultivated to the limit is the initial stage of the martial artist, and the primary talent is a martial artist. And there is a little hope to become an elite martial artist, and the medium talent is an elite martial artist, and there is a little hope to become a great martial artist. The great martial artist at the Linhai base is already very old, and it is estimated that he is only a medium talent. Medium talent, at least find a medium talent to copy. I can't get close to those martial artists, otherwise if I touch them, maybe I will be killed by them. Even if a martial artist kills ordinary people, even if he violates the rules of the base, he will be fined some money at most, and there will be nothing at all. Especially for me who has no background, and no one is in charge for me, so I can't risk copying the talent of martial artists. There are 300,000 people in the base, my copy talent can only check other people's talents within 3 meters, this distance is too small, if you check other people's talents one by one. The speed is too slow, the best way is to find someone fixedly, ask which martial artist has a fast cultivation speed, and then go to see how his talent is. As long as he has a medium or higher talent, I will copy. I don't believe that the huge coastal base doesn't even have a medium talent. And the martial apprentices are basically concentrated in the major colleges. There are 5 major colleges in the Linhai base. As long as you are 15 years old, you can go to these colleges. Except for the first college in Linhai, which requires primary talent or a certain relationship, the other colleges have no requirements, and you can go to it if you give money. The predecessor originally wanted a primary talent, and then go to the first academy, but now even if I have a primary talent, I don't dare to go to the first academy. The first academy requires the talent to be tested. If I let others know the talent, if the talent becomes higher in the future, it will definitely be cut into pieces and studied. Tian said helplessly. Now, he has no choice but to retire to study at other colleges. In fact, he must also go to the academy to study, otherwise he will not be able to learn the forging method, and the martial apprentice will not be able to absorb the vitality. So he can only practice the forging method to temper his body, so as to have the strength of 1,000 caddies and become a martial artist.